Greetings everyone, Lumberg here. I am today going to be talking about mergers again. I know you may be tired of hearing about mergers, especially if your nation is not merging, but this is a hot topic. So if you were in the game in the last 24 hours, or you happen to look at the Age of Origins official Discord and scroll down to this little section here, which is pre-merger time here, you will see that it's been a buzz today about merger talks, which nations could potentially getting a merger in March. Believe it or not, yes, we're talking about March mergers. February mergers just happened, and now we are talking about March mergers. So I don't know how much cadence or credit to put to this, but it is interesting, and I do want to thank this person, whoever this is, for posting this list. So this is most likely somebody that has gotten some of the information from the VIP contact. So let's talk about that more. So I've talked to a couple of people, and they've been kind enough to share some of that information that's coming through from the VIP reps. In fact, I have the permission to share some of this. Thanks to Apollo for getting this to us. You can see here, similar message was basically provided by a lot of the VIP reps to the VIP players. What is a VIP player? That is basically a super spender that gets a special rep where they get special offers and special information. And, they are basically the most important players because they bring in the most revenue for AOO or Camel. And Camel's view of this game is definitely it is a revenue making game. Everybody should be in the business of making a profit. I mean, I work for a company, you work for a company, most likely that is designed to make a profit. So there's nothing wrong with that. There's premium plane tickets and so on, and everything, in the real world does work like that. What is interesting though, is that, the information desert exists for anybody that doesn't know a VIP, right? Because there's not a lot of communication that happens in the official Discord channel anymore, and you have to kind of piece together things. And it seems like, the VIP people and those that have that connection, your nation may not have a VIP. VIP is determined by how much you spend. And so if your nation doesn't have many spenders, you're not going to get a lot of this information. And, a lot of official information is missing. They are getting a little bit better. They did post the previous merger, but let's talk about the previous merger. So I'm going to pull up this list here. We did a video on the previous merger, and we talked about, hey, look, these are the ones that happened in February 3rd. And, we found out about them. Evergen, the Discord mod, posted. And then finally, when everything was done and Chaosland was finalized, the Discord admin did, in fact, post those mergers. But what is interesting is look at these three mergers here, right? So this little group in this box here, so after the Chaos Land was finished and determined, there was a secondary Chaos Land announced for these 9 nations to get a merger. And you might ask, why was that? So originally, this was the list of nations that got the merger. And then suddenly we saw some announcements where there was additional mergers here. This one kind of makes sense because, if you looked at the list, there was a lot of mergers here, but 482, 83, and 505 seem to have gotten skipped. And so they did another announcement and another Chaos Land, and they got it. This is the one that doesn't make sense. How the heck did you skip so many worlds and get it here? Until you look at who is in World 581. World 581 probably has the person that has spent the most in the game in terms of recruiting speeds, because there is a player named Big Boss. If you didn't know it, you probably should go check him out. And he has over 500 million BP, so a lot of troops and a lot of spending. So what we found out, and a lot of people have shared exact screenshots, and I can't share those with you, is that not only did Camel listen to the big spenders in this case, they also even asked which worlds out of this listing of worlds would you like to be merged with. I can't share those because people give me information in confidence, and I want to preserve that confidence and that information chain. But it was surprising to see some of the just blatant bluntness of some of those requests, and then money does talk. So it's not just you can get a merger by stopping spending. Apparently, you can also get a merger by overspending or having a monster spending, or a VVIP is what I will term them. A VVIP is somebody that Camel really wants to please and keep spending. And this relationship becomes evident even when we look at these potential mergers that might be coming. So this has been announced, and you can see this. And then even when you look at the Discord listing and you go into your information, it's evident that those were done as a secondary, because when you go into announcements, if we can find it, in-game announcements here, look at this latest one. Look at this one at the bottom, right? So you can see here. I'm going to turn on. Pardon me. If you look at these last three, those were the ones that where Chaos Line happened later, and these were announced later. And I bet you, all of these ones got predicated and probably got initiated by some complaints and some heavy spenders saying, hey, why did we not get picked? And it was, or they had more capacity to do mergers and then added them. But you can see that it's an addendum because clearly these Chaos Lines happened first, and then this last three happened. That's why it's not in numerical order. All right. Let's go back to our list here. So we are now talking about March mergers. The date hasn't been announced. You saw the message where certain VIPs, so I was able to confirm, like for instance, 539 VIP player confirmed this, Apollo did. 503, a player confirmed this. 273, it looks like just from the conversation, somebody, all of these nation chats are a buzz here. Even 619, you can see somebody saying that, wait a minute, there was a VIP player that got contacted or got confirmed by their VIP rep that they are in fact getting a merger. How to read this message? Because let's take a look at the message here, right? Subject to the mail of the merger. So we don't know what is subject to the mail of the merger. Is it the nations that could change? Is it the timing that could change? Is it the fact that they will get a merger that could change? So don't go building, everything on this message, because it could change. We have seen VIPs communicate mergers before in the past, a long time ago, where there was some differences. But this one seems to be consistent in all sources, meaning this list here, some other lists of the VIP has seen. To me, this is more of a, they know that the VIPs are speaking to each other, people share this information, and I think they're now getting on board where everybody's kind of giving that same message, and they have that list that they were now able to share with the VIPs, and that's how they're going to disseminate that information. But take it with a grain of salt because it could change. So my source is essentially unofficial. Somebody was kind enough to post this entire list on our nation chat, and you can see it here. The game is loading. I have it already in pictures, so I can show it there. Somebody posted this in nation chat here, and you can see that entire list. So I took that list, put it into my spreadsheet. It's in red because we really aren't sure. It's not official, so keep that. It was shared by a posting, and I was able to validate it from many different sources, the Discord chat. So I think this might be legit. That being said, I did go ahead and do some analysis here. Based on, so first of all, let's give credit where credit is due. A lot of this information that I used came from AOZ Wiki or Gan's Game. His channel will be listed in the description, and please send him some love. He put in this awesome webpage, which is his AOZ Wiki Ranking Site. And you can go into the worlds and you can see the list of worlds, and you can kind of get a sense for, okay, what's the power, what the commander power, officer power, void rate. This void rate really isn't as reliable because it combines void and frenzy, but it's pulling the game data, and this guy is an awesome gatherer of data. And I've used kind of some of this information to help analyze, these nations and what's happening here. So if you look at it here in this listing I have, let's take a quick look. So these are the combination of the worlds that are merging, and you can see, I basically took AOZ Wiki's data here, and I just added when was the last time that they had a merger. So all of these are second time mergers here because AOZ Wiki's site actually doesn't have some of the world information for worlds above 500. So I couldn't do the 500s, and I don't have all of the spy accounts in each of those worlds and can't compile this data quickly. I'm just a one-person shop. But if you look at it here, 164, 183, 192. And I was trying to see, is there a pattern to see how they match it? Is it by nation BP? And there really isn't quite clear a pattern, right? It's kind of hard to see it. Some of it clearly looks like they are following a little bit of cadence based on, which ones got merged when gets into the bucket, but there is some discrepancies and some outliers. For instance, 255 is an outlier. Why is it an outlier? Because so you can see here that, look, you might wonder, so the one that seemed to got shafted is 187. They didn't get a merger, but 187 last got a merger in October. You can see all of these other ones around 187, they got in June, July. So maybe you can say, okay, so really you got a merger much later. So you're going to get you got your first merger much later. So you're going to get your second merger kind of a couple of months later. So, okay, there could be some reason and rationale for why 187 got skipped and, 193, 96, and 92 got picked because their first merger happened in June or July. All right, okay, so if that's the case, then what about this guy, 255? 255 clearly is not a low spending world. They have some monsters and some, we fought them in Global Conquest. They have some really strong accounts and are very strong. And their last merger date, you can see, is December 24, 2021, which is very different from the worlds that are around them. They got merged almost, 4 to 6 months, 4 to 5 months previously compared to this. So why did we skip for a bunch of worlds and go to 255? What about, and you can look at 225, and this will kind of refute some of the arguments that, look, it's all about nation BP. We don't really know what it is. It's a combination. It really is going to be spending focused. We can kind of infer that. And you can see, look, they merged on August 20th. So there's no reason why 225 should have been skipped and 255 would have been picked. What does make logical sense is that, look, they got pressure from their VIPs and probably got picked because they spend more. So they have some monster spenders in there, and they get the preference, right? So it's just like anything else. You get premium service if you are a revenue maker. Same thing with 273, right? So here you can see that, wait a minute, they got a merger early, so that's probably why they got their first merger early, and that's probably why they got picked. That would be the case, but then you can't make that same argument for 270. So you could say that, look, maybe the BP is less. The BP, those arguments really don't hold that much weight. Some people say that maybe it's the void win rate. We have to lose all of our events. Clearly, you can see that the void frenzy win rate is higher for 273. Some of these nations will just get picked because they have that relationship and that spending with the VIP reps and those monster players. Similarly, and this will be the proof in the making, is that, if you look at the list of worlds here, if you look at the list of worlds here, the outlier here and everything, all of this is 619. Well, how the heck did 619 get picked amongst all these other 550 worlds, or 500 to 550 was the range, right? Then why did 619 get picked? I really was curious, so I did create a spy account, and I said, I have to figure this out. Like, does 619 have a monster spender that could have swayed and kind of influenced that decision? I just made this account today, and I said, sure enough, guess what? You're right. It does have a monster spender. If we look in the nation chat, you can see, there's nothing wrong with him. I mean, he's trying to do the best for his nation. Kudos to him. But I believe if you just look at kind of what he's done, and if you look at his city, I think I found him. Let's go here. Let's find him on the map. And then it will become evident why. Oh, look at that. I mean, he has the robot skin. So he is a monster, right? So even if you look at all of the rankings, you can see here, and this is an interesting world with a lot of lock nations. If you look at this globe ranking of commander power, I mean, look at that, 420. These are lock nation, lock nation, lock nation. Here's our magic maker, Rob, or I'm not really sure how to say his name. We'll just call him Rob. Rob at 152. And then look, Lock Nation, the second player is less than half of him. So he is a monster of a player. And just looking at this nation, you can see how quickly he got, how fastly he grew. Just look at that officer power. Look at not kill ranking, but look at his city ranking, 38. And then in the top 10, the bottom of the top 10 is 32. Look at that spread. So he got really strong, really fast, and you can really see some of the spending here. Whoa, I don't think I've seen islands quite that high, and even globes that are 3 globes lower than that, right? So yes, this is a prime customer of Camel that they would want to keep happy. And of course, that probably has a lot to do with why they got a merger early. It doesn't always have to do with, BP, cutting spending. It truly is keeping the customer happy. And from what I've seen in the conversations between VIPs that some people have been kind enough to share in confidence, becomes pretty evident that this is an organization that is run like FIFA, right? How does FIFA get to host the World Cup? It basically is kind of a what will you do for me? What can you do for me? And it's no secret. So who gets a merger is a lot like who gets to host the World Cup. So it is just like a mob, a little bit. I don't know if corrupt is the right word, but it definitely is. A lot of deals are happening and a lot of preference is given to people that spend a lot. Is that bad business practice? No. Is it fair to the other people in other nations? I guess. I mean, this is a game that's designed to make money. It's not fair, but it's not designed to be fair. It's designed to be entertaining, and it is designed to be competitive. But if you really do think about it, if you're facing some of these nations that have merger, you're going to have a very hard time competing. That is in a gist of what I wanted to cover. We're going to come back here. I'm just going to share this list right here, like I've done in the past videos. So you can see this was the list of worlds that were waiting for a second merger. The green ones are the ones that potentially could get this March merger. So green means that they got announced here, but keep that with a grain of salt. And red means the ones that got skipped over. So 187 got skipped over, 202. So all of these red ones got skipped over. But that means that these would be potential good candidates for next time. Which one gets picked isn't just based on which world number comes in chronological order, because it does have a little bit to do with when did they last get merged. For instance, if you look at the merger date, let's say for a world like 246, if we come to 249, right? So this is 249 Styles or AOZ Wiki's old world. They didn't get merged until May 27, 2022. So they're likely going to get a second merger, late just because of that. But that being said, if you look at the first time world mergers, it does look like they did fit in, everything in kind of chronological order, because there is no cadence, because they didn't have this is their first time merger. So most likely 561 onwards will get picked next time. And of course, you see that outlier 619. So there could be some outliers of some heavy spenders. Of course, all of these mergers and listings are unlocked worlds. We do not have access to be able to kind of, even figure out what the locked worlds will be. So we'll get that information when the announcement, or if the announcement comes on the AOZ Discord. That is it. This, of course, is the same schedule that I've been updating. It does have some of the locked nations in here. So, I continue to update that. So it lists, which ones are locked or unlocked nations. And it does also, if you're trying to look at a format, even though this global conquest has passed already, it does give you a good idea of, in chronological order, which world is essentially going to get merged. I'm going to continue to update this. So it's going to be the same link that you've seen before. Really focus on these first 3 tabs for now, and then the March merger for some analysis of, world strength. For those of you that want to do some research to think if you can come up with an algorithm of how Camel matches it, I wouldn't spend too much time on it, because a lot of it is just based on randomness and then spending. So we don't have the spending numbers here, so you can't really see that. They do try to keep things a little bit even, but they will always give preference to people that have more of a voice, which is the VIP players, and that have more of spending power. That is it. Take care, guys. Good luck for those of you that are getting merged. Reach out to the other worlds. Build kind of rules and agreements, and good luck in your chaos land whenever that does get announced. And hopefully you do get a merger, and this is not just too early, unreliable information. So take it with a grain of salt. Have fun, and do reach out if you have any additional information. And thank you, special thanks to all the people that actually get me a lot of the information, that reach out to me and allow me to kind of make this content and this informed videos for other people, it would not be possible if I didn't get the information for you guys. So special thanks to all of you guys. Thank you.